Yo, what's good with y'all? In today's video, I got how to make still a brain rot. I'm pretty sure this is part 10 to the series and stuff. It's been about 3 weeks since I uploaded new parts of the brain rot series and stuff like that. I just came back from vacation not too long ago and stuff, and I was feeling a little sick and whatnot and stuff. I still am just a little bit and stuff, so bear with me, guys. But of course, I had to hit y'all with some new content. A lot of y'all have been begging and begging and begging. So yeah, I had to hit y'all with a lot of content. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. Okay, so as you guys know, just continue showing the series love and support, and you don't have to worry about the series ending. As long as the series get love and support, I will keep adding more and more stuff and everything. So if as long as you see the views and everything is good, y'all got nothing to worry about. That aside, we're getting into the video. Okay, so I did a lot of stuff. Most of the stuff is fixes. I fixed a major issue that a lot of people were complaining about, as well as I added something. So I fixed NPCs being able to be stolen after a player leaves. Shout out to everyone who pointed out these issues to me in my comment section and stuff like that. The only reason I shouted out Kodo specifically for this because he DM'd me and stuff, right? And then like I forgot to get these people username. I just screenshotted their message and stuff. I was able to get his user because he DM'd me on Discord, but anyway. So one, fixed NPCs being able to be stolen after a player left. So let's say like if a player left, there would be that little 1 second delay and stuff where like like it would be delayed before the NPCs were destroyed, so then players would be able to steal them. I fixed that. Updated money. Oh, that's wrong. Not display. Money display for collectors. So the collectors over here, right? When you walk over to collect money from your NPCs and stuff, it'll now like just the same way with the NPC overhead display, as well as the price and stuff like that. It'll display it and here it'll display it like if you have over $1,000, it'll say K. If you have over a mil, it'll say M, right? I fixed the reset button being displayed after being intercepted while attempting to steal. What that just means is if you try to steal an NPC and then like the owner hits you with their bat and stuff, and everything, your reset button wouldn't re-enable itself. So I fixed that. Fixed being stuck as a thief. The victim leaves during the theft. So pretty much if the victim player left the game while a different player was trying to steal their NPC and stuff, they would pretty much be um stuck as like still like their status would still say stealing. So I fixed that. Fixed players sometimes getting stuck at the ground when trying to steal the NPC. Fixed base being locked but not displaying lasers for players who join after it was locked. So if player one locks the base and then player two joins the game afterwards, they the lock base invisible part wall would make it so that they can't enter the base, but they would not be able to see the actual lasers and stuff. So I fixed that. Fixed the major data saving issue, which everyone obviously knew of and stuff. Realized the problem was the delay. That was the problem. That's what created, especially for you guys who have like, for me, I only have 2 unit slots and stuff like, or sorry, 2 unit platforms, but you guys have like 10 total and stuff like that. So that's why it was pretty much waiting 1 second in between each one, on top of the fact that it had to wait for each individual base instead of if you had multiple players in the game. So I fixed that by just getting rid of the delay between each NPC. So I found an alternative fix for that. This should fix the issue. I tested it and it worked for me and stuff like that. Now, if it's still giving you all that same issue, let me know and then I will find an alternative and stuff. But it seemed to be working just fine for me. Everything seemed to be saving. I tested multiple times in actual game and in studio. And then lastly, I added the index system, and let me just make sure I'm good. Okay. Then I added the index system, which a lot of y'all have. One of y'all have been asking for index system rebirths and stuff. Rebirth is probably gonna be next, but yeah. So the index system, I added that, and yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into the video. Okay, so first things first, let's jump straight into the in. Mm, yeah, let's jump straight into the index system. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna get to these two things in a second. So open up Core GUI. We need to add some new UI elements. So first things first, you're gonna go ahead and insert a text button into the Core GUI. So boom, text button. You're gonna want to rename this text button to index text button. Make sure you're paying attention to naming everything exactly as I'm naming it and stuff. So index text button, bold, color rich text, scale text. By the way, customization properties like this stuff doesn't matter unless I tell you. Then it doesn't matter. Like you guys can set the the colors, the fonts, and all that stuff. That's up to y'all and stuff. It's really the most important thing is really just usually the text and the name. But yeah, so then we'll just set the text to index. Um, we will make the text color, set the text color to white, set the text stroke color to black, set text stroke transparency to 0. Then we will change the size. So we'll change it from 200 to like 120. I think that's good. Like to like 120. We will make the background color a nice dark gray. set the background transparency to 0.5, right? And then I will move the index button down so it'll be right here, step to the top, bottom left, I should say, right? Then once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and insert our index frame. So go to Core GUI, plus icon, insert a frame. You're going to want to rename this frame to index frame. Then you're going to want to move this to the middle of the screen. We're going to want to make this like 300 by 300, or actually, no, it's probably going to be like 500 by, wait, that might be 400 by 300 might be sufficient, not gonna lie. Yeah, that's pretty sufficient. Okay, so just put that in the middle of your screen. Same thing. Gonna make it like a dark gray, but not too dark. Then 0.5 background transparency, right? Then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna want to insert a text label, right? Then I'm just gonna leave this in the top left of the screen. You're gonna want to rename this to index text label. This is just gonna be our, our header. So bold text, rich text, scale text, and then you're just gonna set this to index, right? It'll be text color will be set to white, right? And then text stroke transparency will be set to 0. And then we're just gonna set the background transparency for this to 1. And then we want this to be like kind of smaller in like the top left of the screen. So I'm gonna set this to like maybe not 50. Definitely can make this smaller, like 30, and then no, that might be too small. So maybe do like 70, something like that. So index would be in the top left, and then oh, I bet I did not mean to click that. Then after that, you're then gonna want to you could just duplicate the index text label. So select it, duplicate, and then just rename this to current index text label. So this is just gonna tell you like where you currently are, and then just drag this to be right under the index text label, right? And then you're just gonna set this text color to like a dark, so like a kind of like a grayish color, right? And then by default, this text should say all brain rots, because by default you'll be displaying all the brain rots the player currently owns, right? Then we're gonna go ahead and make our close button. So insert a text button into the index frame. Set the size to 50 by 50. So just scroll down. So just throw 50 right there. Then just rename this to close text button, right? Then we will set the background color to a nice dark red. We will scroll down, bold text, rich text, scale text, set the text to an X, set the text color to be white, scroll down, text stroke transparency will be set to 0, and then I will set the border size to 2, and then we will drag this to be in the top right of our screen. So boom, right there. And stuff. I feel like the button might be a little too, I don't know, maybe just like 40 by 40. That might be a little better. Yeah, it looks better in my opinion. Okay, so in the top right, there's our close text button. Then from there, we're gonna now start adding our frames. So first things first, we're gonna insert a frame into the index frame, right? So boom, you're gonna drag this to like the side right here, so a little space in between. You're simply just gonna just drag this down so make it size like, yeah, like 200 should be fine, and then like make this like 130, and then just drag this over a little bit, right? So boom, just something like that. You're gonna want to rename this frame to index options frame if you're confused as to what this is. This is pretty much the options on the left side of the index system, where it has like the rarities, because I'm going by rarities and stuff. If I decide to add mutations, which a lot of y'all have asked me for, then I might change this so that it reflects mutations rather than rarities, or I'll just have both, where you can sort by rarities and or mutations. But for now, we're just gonna go with rarities. If you're confused by what I'm talking about, if you open up the NPC folder and you open up your NPC, remember we have the rarity. So common, uncommon, rare, whatever you have, right? So yeah. So we go back here, and then you're simply gonna want to set the background transparency to 1. You're gonna want to insert a UI grid layout. This is gonna automatically scale everything for us, set its size and everything. So you can just set this to so you can set the cell padding to 5 by 8. Then you can set the cell size to 120 by 50, right? It's automatically going to sort that for us. And then you can go ahead and insert your first text button. So you could just into the index options frame, so insert your first text button, right? Very important. Make sure it matches the name of the, the rarity. So we're just gonna say, so the first one will be common text button, and then very important, make sure the text matches the exact, like make sure it's, capital C, everything, like it matches. So I'm gonna go down here to the text, and I'm gonna set the text. Oh my bad, didn't I mean, oh actually no, that should be the case. Bold text, rich text, scale the text, and then set the text to common. And then we're just gonna flip this, so white text color, text stroke color will be set to black, and then text stroke transparency will be set to 0. And then we will make the background a nice dark gray, and then to the background transparency to 0.5, so something like that, right? And then from here we can just duplicate this, so select it and then just control D, or duplicate in top left, so control plus D, right? And then now keep in mind, I'm just doing 3 because I only have 3 rarities, right? I have common, I have uncommon, and then I have rare. You guys might have more. If you have more, then obviously add more here and stuff, right? Obviously add more here, right? And then let's say like you're running out of room, like they're going down here. I wouldn't understand why you'd have like 8 different rarities, but let's say you did, just adjust the cell size here. All you have to do is click the UI grid layout, just adjust the cell size or cell padding. Just make it so that the Y value is like smaller or something so that they don't take up as much space. That's all you gotta do, is just adjust the cell size, play around with that. Okay, moving on. So we're gonna then change this to uncommon text button. Again, make sure it matches the names of your rarities, not just mine. So if you copied what I did, then obviously you're good. So if you've been copying what I've done, then you're good. So then change this to rare text button. Bam. Right. So from there we are done with the index options frame, and then we're good with this. Now we can insert our next frame. This is going to be our units frame. So this is going to be a scrolling frame. So click the plus icon on the index frame. This is going to be a scrolling frame. Just going to drag this like kind of like the middle right here. And then we're just going to set the size like maybe like 300. That's not 300. So 300. And probably just move it over so it's like in the middle, kind of like that. Then I'll set the Y value to like probably 300 as well. Okay, that's a lot more than I asked for. 250, and then 250 should be, or no, let's do like 230, right? And then we're going to want to rename the scrolling frame to units, plural by the way, units frame. This is where obviously your units are going to be. So for this, you're going to want to set the background transparency to a darker gray than the one, again, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. I'm just going for this. So then 0.5 background transparency, so it stands out. Then I'm going to scroll down to where it's scroll bar, where is it? Yeah, scroll bar image transparency. I'm going to set that to 1, right? Because in Brainrot, they have it's like that where you can't actually see it. But yeah, so then we have that. Now I'm going to go ahead and okay, see, this doesn't actually bother me because I feel like it's too. I feel like the units frame is it's too small to be honest. Like I think I'm gonna make this wider. Like maybe I don't know if I can fit. I mean, I'm trying to fit like 350 here, and then yeah. So I'm just do that. Yeah, 350 like right there. Okay, yeah, that looks a lot better in my opinion. Okay, so we have our units frame. Then all we gotta do is just insert a UI grid layout into this. Again, it's gonna control the size and scale of everything. So for me, I did cell padding. I did 15, comma 8. Cell size, I did 100 by 100, so just leave it at its default. I did change some things down here and stuff just so that it looks right. Um, so we have behavior, horizontal, zero, sort order. Start corner, top left, and then I just change. Actually, no, I think that was actually it. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. So we're done with the UI. Okay, so we're done with that. And now we can close. Make sure you set the index frame visibility to false, and then good to go. Okay, so now to explain what's going on in replicated storage. So there are two things here, right? We have our unit frame template and then the NPC image folder. So I'm going to explain this first. So actually, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have ask you guys to close it. Well, to be fair, y'all can keep it closed because I'm just really just showing y'all something, explaining it to y'all. So the unit frame template. I'm gonna drag and drop this into the index frame, but I meant to drop this into the units frame. So yeah, okay. So you guys see what I'm going for here, right here, right? Now ignore the image. I know the image obviously it doesn't look good. The whole point is it doesn't matter. whatever I make is just simply for demonstration purposes. You guys are responsible for the quality of your images and stuff like that. It's just for demonstration purposes. That aside. Okay, so what the unit frame template is, it is obviously a frame, right? It is a frame. So if you're wondering how to make this, all you got to do, I'm gonna walk you guys through it. You're just gonna insert a frame into units frame, right? So just insert a frame, rename it to unit frame template. I'm showing you guys all the properties, so all you got to do is just copy and paste. It's very simple. So set the name to unit frame template, right? These are the properties if you want it to look exactly like mine. Like this is the color, background transparency, the sizing. Well, the sizing doesn't matter because it's controlled by the UI grid layout. And same with the position, but you guys see everything, right? Then inside of the unit frame template, make sure you guys are naming everything as as shown, right? The reason why we need this template is because if we tried to script it, it would be too difficult to try to get everything like in the like I'd have to like spend like an hour playing around with like positions to get it to automatically like move everything over. As you can see, we have three labels. We have an image label and then that we need to be in the middle. We have two text labels, one that needs to be in the top left, one needs to be in the top in the bottom right. It's too difficult for me to sit and play around with that for like an hour to figure it out. So it's just simple. It's just a lot simpler if we have a active template, right? So we have our unit image label, right? And then again, so here are the properties and stuff to insert image label, plus icon, image label, right? And then you're just gonna want to name it to unit. You're gonna name everything unit and then, followed by whatever the property is and then label. So this is the image label. Those are text labels, right? Then set the background transparency to 1, right? Obviously your image, don't try to use my image IDs. You have to use your own and stuff. And yeah. So you just want to do that, right? Then for the unit name text label, this is honestly very simple. These are just regular text labels. Again, I'm scrolling through the properties so you guys can see. Make sure you name them exactly as I've named them. Unit image label, and unit name text label, as well as unit rarity text label, right? And they should all be parented to the unit frame template. You can just insert the frame into the units frame just so that you can see it and make sure everything looks good. And so this is not what it's going to look like for all of them. This is just the template and stuff, and then it'll be changed via the script. Um, so yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys understand how it'll set the names and stuff and the rarity it's and everything. That's pretty self-explanatory. Now to explain how the image label is gonna work, right? One, you guys need to get your own images. You have to like uh just look that up, right? Just look that up. But you have to like go on the internet, go to websites or whatever, and you can just save an image of something or just take a screenshot of your. That's what I did. I just took a screenshot of the unit. I just saved it as like a PNG file. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the unit image label, click image, and then you're just gonna click add image, and then you're just gonna click create or whatever. And I think it's gonna, yeah, or sorry, choose file, and then you're gonna choose your image file, then click create, and then it'll give you this ID. You need this ID because it's gonna be different for each thing. Very important. So once you get that ID, you're gonna copy that. You're gonna come over here, right? Go to replicated storage, insert a folder, right? Insert a folder, name it NPC image folder, and inside of it, you're gonna have a string value. So plus icon, string value, right? The name of that string value should match the exact name of your NPCs. That value will be the image ID or the image asset ID value, right? And stuff. Now, if you're confused of what I'm talking about, you're gonna go to your image label. You're gonna go down to image, add image, choose file, create image. Then you're just gonna copy and paste this asset ID right here. So copy that, go over here. Okay, let's see. Which unit is that for? Okay, so it's for Nubini. So then I'm gonna go over here to Nubini. I'm gonna paste it right here. And then boom, as you can see, all these values are different. This is so that it'll be able to tell which image goes with which NPC. It's not that hard. It is very simple. So please, I can imagine a lot of people getting confused on this part. And stuff. It's really not that difficult. All you're doing is literally just going on the internet, getting images or taking screenshots, saving them as PNGs, JPEGs, whatever type of image file type, it doesn't matter. And then you're just going to create an image via using the unit image label, and then you're just going to copy that ID and put it here. Remember, this is a string value. Name should match the exact name for the NPC inside of the NPC folder, right? And then the NPC image folder should be inside of replicated storage, right? And then once you're done with that, once you're done with the unit frame template altogether, you guys can simply, you don't have to go with this format, by the way. Like obviously the names and everything has to match, but I'm saying like if you want like the name, like if you want like the name of the unit to be in the top right instead, like you can do that. That's perfectly fine. So once you're done with the template, you're just gonna leave that inside of replicated storage so we can clone that and stuff. The only reason I moved it over to units frame was so that you can see, so that like I recommend keeping it there so that you can see to make sure everything looks good, so that you don't have to keep hitting play then okay, everything doesn't look like things don't look good, stop, and then you try to like edit things around, and you have to keep doing it over and over again. It's just easier like this. So leave the unit frame template as well as the NPC image folder inside of replicated storage. I really hope you understand what I'm saying and stuff. I feel like I'm just, I don't know, I don't think I'm making sense to y'all, but I hope I am. Anyway, so then you're gonna close units frame. We're done with the UI and stuff. God bless. Then we're gonna set visibility to false for the index frame. Then from there, we're going to move on to scripting. Okay, so we're done with UIs and all that stuff and make sure we're good. Now we can move on to the actual scripting. Okay, so open up the local script. We'll be here for approximately 5 seconds. So we're going to go right after we set the wall can't collide to true. So remember, this is for if a player's base is currently locked and stuff. We need to make it so that their lasers are visible too. So we'll say for j, f, and I pairs. Then you'll just simply say base dot lasers get children, enter, then you'll just say f dot transparency is equal to 0.5, right? Then once that's done, you're just going to scroll down a little bit. So it's like right here, right? So so I did get this error message like once, but it's not like a serious thing where the human root part hadn't like loaded in yet because this event is obviously fired. You know, if you have like NPC saved with the new data saving and stuff, this event will be fired like upon the player joining. So let's just make sure that the human root part exists. So we're just simply gonna add a wait for child. So wait for child and then humanoid root part just to ensure we don't get no error messages. So humanoid root part. Then you're gonna scroll down, literally all the way to the bottom. We're gonna start adding the new functions and stuff for the index system, right? So first thing first, let's create a variable for our new units frame template, or sorry, NPC image folder. Sorry. So we're gonna say local. Well, actually, for both, yeah, we'll just do both. So we'll say NPC image folder. Keep in mind this is different than the NPC folder. So it's equal to game, the replicated storage, wait for child. And then you'll say NPC image folder. Then you'll create a variable for the unit frame template, which is equal to, which same thing, replicated storage, child, unit frame template. Then we'll start setting up our functions. We'll say core GUI dot index text button dot activated connect function, close parentheses, enter. Then you'll say for I comma v in I pairs, and you will say core GUI dot index frame dot units frame get children enter, and then you'll say if v is a frame, then we'll say v destroy if you're confused as to what we just did. So we're just gonna get all the children inside of the units frame, right? Keep in mind this is where all your units are gonna be displayed at. This is so that like it'll clear out all the old ones and stuff like that, so we can then add the new ones, right? And remember, we're gonna have frames. That's the whole point of the unit frame template, right? So we're just gonna destroy those old ones, and we need to check that we need to make sure it's a frame and not the UI grid layout because we don't want to destroy that. Then we're gonna start adding the new stuff. So we're just gonna say for I comma v and I pairs. Then you're gonna say player dot all owned units. Remember that's our folder on the server side that keeps track of all of our, well, not on the server side, but that keeps track of all of our owned units. Then you're gonna say get children, enter. Then we're gonna create a variable for our unit frame, which is equal to unit frame template, and it's gonna say clone, and then we're just gonna set all the properties and stuff. It saves us a lot of time by just doing it like this. So unit frame dot name is equal to v dot name dot dot dot. So keep in mind v dot name for all on units is gonna be the name of the unit, while the value will be the rarity. So we're just gonna say frame. Then we'll say unit frame dot background color 3 is equal. Oh wait, actually this doesn't really matter actually. Now that I think about it, because we already said the background color. So we'll just say unit frame dot unit. Make sure you're referencing unit frame and not unit frame template, because I can already imagine people making that mistake. So then we'll say unit name text label dot text is equal to v dot name, then unit frame dot unit rarity text label dot text is equal to v dot value. Then we'll say unit frame dot unit image label, this is what I was talking about, dot image is equal to, in quotation marks, you're going to put rbx asset id colon 2 forward slashes, then go on the outside and you're going to say dot dot dot, and then you're gonna say npc image folder regular bracket v dot name, go on the outside dot value to explain what's happening. Unit frame dot image, remember That's this. You're setting the image. You have to put this before so it searches for the. This is how you search for asset IDs. We're in Roblox. Then remember our NPC image folder, right? So then it's gonna find the name. Vida name is the name of the unit, so it'll find the name. Then the value is whatever the asset ID is for the image. Then we'll say unit frame dot parent is equal to core GUI dot index frame dot units frame, right? Then go after that, skip the ending, and then you will say core GUI dot index frame dot current index text table dot text will be set to all brainrots because we are currently displaying all brainrots the player currently has. Then we'll say core GUI dot index frame dot visible is set to true, right? We'll go after that and we'll set up the close function. So we'll say core GUI dot index frame dot close text button dot activated connect function close parentheses enter. Then you will say core GUI dot index frame dot visible is equal to false. So then you close the frame. Then for the last thing, we'll make it so that you can select certain indexes and stuff. So we'll say for I, comma v and I pairs, and then you will say core GUI dot index frame dot index options frame get children enter. Then you will say if v is a text button, right? Enter. Then you will say v dot activated connect function close parentheses enter. Then you will create a variable for the unit type. You will say unit type. Oh, my bad. My bad. I did not do that right. My bad. So go up here and press enter. My bad. So you're going to create a variable for the unit type. So unit type, this is why I said the text is very important. Unit type will be equal to v.text. So pretty much it'll just be equal to, common, uncommon, rare in my case, right? Then we'll update the index. So we'll say code index frame dot current index text table. That text will be set to unit type. That's what we're indexing by. Then we can literally just go up here, save ourselves some time, just copy and paste this part right here. Just copy, come back down here, paste. Remember, we already have IMV, so we need to redo this. We're just gonna use J and F here. So we're gonna say JF. We're gonna say JF, and then right here, very important, very important. Make sure you're changing this JF, and then we can do the same thing down here since these are separate. These loops aren't inside. These for loops aren't inside of each other. Okay, so then you're just gonna find all the V's down here, and then you're just gonna change that to F. And then it's only like 4, I think. And then go right there, and then boom, right? And then all you gotta do now is just simply put an if statement right here. You're just gonna say if f dot value is equal to unit type, enter, and then just copy and paste all the unit frame stuff, or cut, I should say, and then paste it. So boom, just to make sure that you have that you're only adding, units of that specific unit type into the frame. And then we're done with the local script. Now we can move on to the server script. Okay, so then you're gonna go ahead and open up the server script service. And then we're just gonna scroll down to the data saving function and stuff. This is where we get rid of the issue that was pretty much causing, because this was causing like delays essentially. So we're just gonna get rid of this task.wait. 1 second, we don't need this anymore. So just gonna scroll down and delete that. Right, this is inside of the save player data function. So we're just gonna remove that. Then from there, you're gonna go onto the core server the core event on server event. This isn't really a bug fix. This is more just a minor mistake. I didn't grammatical error. I didn't realize I spelled direction wrong. I literally never realized that. So just Control C, Control V. I just never realized I did that wrong. I literally just noticed. Okay, so then from here we're gonna go on to the module. So open up the core script, find the core module. Then inside the generate money function, we're gonna set it up to where it sets the money function to like display the money properly just like we do with the other one. So we're just gonna scroll till I find the whole thingamajig where it's like it does the whole if statement. Okay, actually no, hold on. We're gonna go back to the top, we're gonna go to local script, and then we're just gonna scroll. We're gonna go back and we're gonna scroll down a little bit, and then right here, yeah, right here at the leader stats thing, and then just gonna copy and paste this. Copy, go back to the module script, go to the money function, boom, and then just paste this over this. So Control plus V, go inside the parentheses, put amount, right? And then you're simply just going to change this first line. And you're just going to delete that. And then you're just going to say assign platform dot collector gy dot money text label dot text, right? And then you're just gonna copy and paste this for all of them. Boom. And then that all remains the same. So yeah. Then you're gonna go right here. This will fix. This is also part of our. This is the other 50% of part of our data saving solution. So just to avoid the error. The reason why I had to delay the 1 second delay was to avoid this error. So I'm just gonna say while NPC find first child status, right? And we'll throw an and in between. So we'll do a check for both of those, right? Then boom, then we can scroll down to our tell NPC function. And then you're gonna once again get rid of this 1 second wait so that there won't be any delay whenever you start to sell an NPC. Because everything should work instantaneously now. Then we're gonna go down to the steal NPC function right here. Um we're going to move up the victim player. So scroll down a little and then you'll find the victim player variable. Just cut that. Scroll back up. Go right after stealing character, press enter, and then just paste. Right? And then from there we have respond function and status function. We need a second status function for our victim. So we're just gonna say victim status function because remember status function is our original status function variable is for the thief. So function victim status function will also be set to nil. Then we'll just go down here. All we're gonna do is just simply where's this if spawn function. Then we're just gonna copy that. You're just gonna go after that, paste, and then you're just gonna just do same thing with victim status function. So just gonna control C, control V, right? So boom, done with that. And then we're gonna re-enable reset. So you'll go right here, and then you'll say core events, fire client. Then you'll put stealing player, comma, and quotation marks, enable reset, right? Then you're gonna skip the two ends, and then you're gonna set up the victim status function. So we'll say victim status function is equal to victim player dot status. So same thing, dot changed, connect, function, close parentheses, enter. Then you'll say if victim player dot status dot value, they left the game, enter. Then you will say stealing character dot humanoid dot walk speed, just set their walk speed back to whatever the default is in your game. Then you'll say stealing player dot status, reset the status value for them. So status dot value is equal to empty string. And then you'll do the whole if spawn function so you can really just copy and paste this part right here. So copy, paste, and then afterwards just disconnect. And then we'll just say core events, fire client, sitting player, comma, and then enable reset, so same thing. And then just disable the status function as well as the victim status function. Disconnect those functions, right? Um, then from there, we're gonna scroll down a little bit. We're gonna go right before this for loop right here, and then you're just gonna say npc dot humanoid dot platform stand dot enabled, or sorry, not dot enabled, platform stand. Then you're just gonna set it equal to true. This prevents the issue of like players getting stuck in the ground and stuff like that. Okay, so we are done. All right, that is great. Okay, so let's go on ahead and publish our stuff. Okay, so all right, so let's go ahead and let's hit play. Okay, so first things first, right? So as you can see, as you guys can see, everything is clearly working so far because right over here, it's displaying my NPC's money, with the not conversions, the whatever it's called, whatever you call it, the simplifier, whatever you call it. Then if I open up the index, as you can see, it shows all my units and stuff, their rarities, their images, their names, and you can switch between common, uncommon, rare. If you close it out and come back, it'll just bring you back. And then the text label also changes to reflect you know, the specific NPC type. But yeah, so everything should be fixed now. And so I'm 100% sure everything else should be fixed. Like in a sense of like everything I had prior to the video should be the stuff I put now. So if there's any issues in that, just means I just did something wrong. But yeah. So as always, let me know if you guys find any more bugs and stuff like that. I'm hoping that I fixed a lot of stuff and everything should be good to go and we can just progress moving on to adding some more content. Definitely want to do rebirths and mutations as a lot of y'all want that. So yeah. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.